screen. So welcome everybody. It is September 10th, the day before my husband's birthday. So big 7-0. So we have a lot to celebrate here. I know. Where did those years go? So thank you very much for joining. So Sandy and I are here today representing WITI, and we're very excited to bring to you a topic that's very close and dear to both Sandy and my heart. We both have had long careers in alliances and partnerships and really helping to figure out how do companies best collaborate and bring revenue and customer satisfaction to both organizations. And so Sandy has put together, I think, a very nice deck that really kind of highlights some of the key attributes and strategies behind partnerships. And then a few of those things that we all, think about, the myths, if you will, that are behind a partnership that we like to share. And then we'll go into a breakout and we'll have some discussions among ourselves with a partner or two about some of those myths that we have come across and how we have dealt with our various partnerships as we've gone through our careers. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Before I do, so I make sure I get a check that you guys can see the screen. Yes? No? You see lines?
I don't think you're sharing yet.
Huh.
Still seeing you.
On my screen, I actually did. Let's see. 1 second. There you go.
Oh, there you go.
I guess you have to hit that one button called share to share.
There you go.
Hey, Jessica, nice to see you. Okay, so go ahead, Sandy. I'm going to let you maybe just give a quick little.
Let me do a quick introduction.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. I'm Sandy Matthews. I am a WITI partner advocate. I've been working with this awesome team for the last 2-3 months. And I'm very excited. I'm learning a lot, meeting a lot of great people. It's been a lot of fun. And I've been in the IT industry for many years. I'm not going to say how many, because I'll just tell you how old I am. But many, many years. I've been doing partnerships and alliances for 18. And I love it. It's what I enjoy. I have a huge passion for it. I love it because you're working with people from different parts, different organizations, and you're learning and you're working together to sell opportunities to our mutual customers. So that's always fun. So we're going to kind of talk about, like Doreen said, some strategies and some attributes of how we work with partnerships. And when I talk partnerships and alliances, I'm talking more, not the channel partner, if you will, not the CDWs or the SHIs, more the Accentures, Deloitte's, Infosys, more the strategic, what I'll call the high-end partnerships, the very strategic kind of embedded into the customer business type partners. You want to go next? Thanks, Doreen.
I did. Did it switch?
Thank you. All right. So let's talk about partnerships as a catalyst for growth. Like I mentioned, the partners that we're talking about and speaking about are these very large consulting firms, system integrators and so forth. And these partners are typically embedded in the client's business. They become part of the client's landscape and help to influence how clients are going to solve their business problems with technologies. And typically, we're working at the technology side. So, what do we do to work with these partners that, by the way, don't care about technology? They're just working with customers to solve their business problems. So we want to make sure that we're top of mind with them as they're helping customers solve their business problems. So, we want to be the next phase of targeted growth, transitioning from winning alone to winning together with these partners. The customer has a demand in their space they're having problems in their infrastructure, in their IT, in their security, whatever the case might be within their platform, if you will, and they need help to solve those problems. They're working with these very high-end strategic partners who are helping them do that. And we are the technology to help them solve these customer business problems. So there's the customer demand and the life cycle value within that. We want to win together instead of, again, winning alone. So we want to be part of what I always say, part of their tool, the tool in their tool chest, the partner's tool chest. So they're thinking about us as their technology to help the customer, to help them solve the customer's business problems. We want to neutralize the competition by ensuring we're enabling the partner with what value we bring to the table. How do we differentiate in the market? What do we do differently? How can we be a better solution for the customer? And we want to be repeatable and predictable and scalable at that level. So when they're working with all the customers that they work with, because they, again, are embedded in many, many enterprise level clients, we want to be that repeatable technology that they're taking and working with their customers to help them, again, solve their business problems, help them, hypothetically, we're a security company, help them with their security challenges, whatever that might be. But regardless of where we are as a technology, we want to be, a predictable and scalable and repeatable solution with the partner to the customers. Next slide, please. So as you keep hearing me say, customer is the center of a partner strategy. The customer is in the center. At the end of the day, the customer is our customer as well as the partner's customer. So we're working with sales, we have a global PMO, we've got industry solutions, marketing, all of the attributes of any organization, finance, legal, the pre-sales, services and consulting, which is on the partner side, the customer support, product marketing and sales. The customer is in the middle of all of that at the end of the day. Again, we want to increase joint engagements. We want to be at the heart of the sale, account specific strategies and plannings. We want, the industry solutions. We want to do marketing based on what the solution is, what the offering is, and how we jointly help them reach their goals, work with our pre-sales team. One of the most important things that I believe is partner enablement.
It's just normally like this? Oh,
Sorry. The partner enablement is extremely important because you want your partner to be enabled on your technology from a sales and a delivery perspective, because these partners, what they do is they sell their services. And if they aren't able to deliver on your technology, they're not going to sell their services on your technology. So partner enablement is extremely important. Again, you want to be top of mind, a tool in their toolbox as they're going to have conversations with their customers so they can influence the sale with your technology. Customer success manager is obviously extremely important. And you want to be an easy organization, company, partner to partner with. You want to be, you want to have motivations with the partner. You want to, I always say they're always right. We're always available.
And I would just add, I think, Sandy, that's such a key component of the differentiation, right? Is being able to clearly articulate how are you easier to work with, but also then once you are partnering, to make sure that you're accountable, that you in fact are easy and you don't get caught up in all the bureaucracy of a company. So I think it's very important to have that clarity.
Yeah, thank you, Doreen.
Well, we'll go the other way.
So this is a slide that kind of depicts the framework of best practices. You've got a vision, objectives, and value. You want to have a joint vision, objectives, and value with your partners. You want to have joint offerings and use cases that you work on to get. So it's a joint part of within the relationship from a technical, marketing, enablement, sales, and services perspective. And you want to have government and measurements. You want to be able to track the partnership, things like QBRs, things like business plans, things that you work on together between the two organizations to ensure success, mutual success as they're growing their services revenue and we're growing our sales revenue on our technology. Again, a vision and objectives and value. You want to have shared values, shared objectives. It's extremely important to have open lines of communications consistently with the different folks within the partnerships on both sides that you're going to impact to the end customer. Offerings and use cases, specific solutions, practices. You want to make sure the partners are aligning with the clients and we're aligning with the partners, aligning with the clients. You want product engineering and resources involved, marketing. So again, that's awareness from who are we, what do we bring to the table, on both sides of the fence. I think it's important to have that be a mutual, because I always say this when I'm working with the partners. We are both quote unquote vendors to the customer. So, if we're working together for the customer's benefit, they're going to see that and they're going to appreciate that, and we're going to win because of that. Again, the sales enablement, technical enablement, for the partner, the services, the consulting and implementation, the support resources to help deliver the solution, deliver the technology, and manage it after the deal is closed. And all the stakeholders, identify who the stakeholders are, map that. You want executive sponsorship on both sides of the equation, from the partner side as well as from the company, the technology side. The legal agreements, obviously, those things are always important. The legal folks always need to be involved, and the processes around that. And then again, like I said, the governance around the partnership, the metrics, the goals, escalating, closing the loop, all of those attributes that you ensure you're moving your partnership forward on a regular basis. Anything to add, Doreen?
Like that, I'm on the wrong screen. The overall framework, the thing I always feel too, it's a framework that you work together to build. When you're in an alliance with another company like the Accentures and especially the larger companies, to have a joint framework that works best for both the companies. And also being checking on it, like every quarter or every half a year, check on how it's flowing. How are things working between you two, so that you can also tweak the framework if you find that maybe certain approaches or certain processes are better than others. So I think it's a living framework. I don't think it's a flat, one size fits all. I think it really works best when you work with your partner to build it. So if you're supporting multiple alliances, it can get a little tricky because you may have multiple different approaches.
Excellent. Yeah, very, very good points. Thank you. So an approach to onboarding. So how do we build this partnership? So, you want to educate, enable, engage, and execute. So we're going to educate partner 101. Who are the stakeholders? What are the industry solutions? What's the marketing opportunities? What's the, end of the day size of the prize? The persona based approach. What are the expectations? Enablement. And, I've talked about this quite a bit already, but I think it's extremely important. It's a programmatic approach, virtual, digital, automated world, sales, pre-sales. You want to enable your sales, your pre-sales, and your delivery folks, your practice. The end result, the goal is to build a practice within the partner organization on your technology. If you've got a practice built, then they've got, resources and part of their organization that is essentially focused on who we are as a technology and how we bring value to the customer as the end solution. You want to get accreditations and certifications, enable them to have those accreditations and certifications within their organization, because that's also extremely important as well. And you want to engage, you want to do account mapping activities. Again, we have mutual customers. We have customers that we'd like to get into that maybe we're not into, that the partner's already in. So you want to do understanding of the different accounts on both sides of the equation. Industry alignment and solution focused, multi-partnering. Somebody needs to own the partnership, get some new logos together. What are the different routes to market, and the executive sponsorship? So senior executives on both sides of both organizations having those conversations to discuss, like I mentioned, QBRs, and Doreen mentioned, you want to get together quarterly. Typically QBRs are quarterly events, and you discuss a lot of these activities and functions, if you will, jointly, and the executives are typically part of those conversations. So we have mutual agreement between the two organizations on how we're going to grow and expand this partnerships. What's working, what's not working, what do we need to do differently? And then we want to execute. So again, the cadence, so the QBRs, again, we do those quarterly. Governance around the partnership, scorecard, partnership scorecard, executive alignment again, and a narrow focus on the measurement, just laser focused on how do we get to the end result? How do we win together? I think, Doreen, you were going to take this slide.
No, going the other way. Yeah, so the myths. I find that in my 4 decades of being in partnerships, the myths have evolved over the years, and actually some kind of stayed with us, and others quickly had a death because you all begin to realize that when you're working in partnerships, it is a different environment. So what I wanted to do is, have you take a look at some of these myths, and then what we're going to do is actually go into a breakout and maybe pick 1 or 2 of these that maybe are relative to what you have experienced in your work with alliances and partnerships. And we could talk through it with just another coworker, another colleague here or not. But just one thing I wanted to say about the myths is that, one myth was, if you got a role in the partnerships, you were sort of on the bottom of the stack of employees. And that was sort of at the beginning because everyone seemed to end up in a partnership role at the beginning of my career, again, 35, 40 years ago. It's just completely the opposite now, right? 75% of enterprises, large enterprises, say that the way that they will see organic growth is through partnerships. And so now you're starting to see a completely different growth in alliance roles where you're seeing tremendous amount of executive sponsorships, a tremendous amount of opportunities for growth in a career in your particular roles. And I'm also finding that within the partnerships, your teammates on the other side of the other companies are likewise. You're starting to see a higher, I don't want to say quality, but certainly a higher degree of conviction and commitment to partnerships. So I think that it's all good. I think it's a great time to be in alliance and partnership roles today. There's also just so many other companies out there that support you. So if you are in that role and your company has minimal amount of enablement training or sales training, marketing training to support alliances and partnerships, take a look at some of these other companies that are out there that specifically focus in those areas and see if your company is willing to, sponsor you to participate in some of that other enablement, because I think there's a lot of great learnings out there, and a lot more that I could say that weren't there when I first started for sure.
Yeah. And Jen just made a very valid comment. She says, this is so timely. I recently met someone who said VARs are transactional only and software companies support the end user directly. Absolutely 100%. VARs are much more transactional where you're working with the high-end partners or strategic. Like I said earlier, they're very embedded into the customer's business. In fact, a lot of times you're working with somebody, I always use Bank of America as my example, but say you're working with somebody at Bank of America and it's a large customer for Accenture, you might be talking to somebody with a Bank of America email address. Guess what? That person is probably an Accenture employee.
You're right. Partnerships come in many different shapes and sizes, and sometimes you can't tell, right? So that's where building the relationships and really understanding what is
Very
the
important.
motive behind each of the employees that you're working with in that partnership is so critical. And take the time to develop those relationships. I personally think, Jen, I think it's great to have that transactions, but it's also great to have a strategic. Think about that. If you have a partnership that allows to have both, you really have covered all territories, depending, of course, on what your service or solution is that you're bringing to market with your partner. But being able to support both, I think, is great because we all know transactions sometimes keep the lights on, and strategic sometimes give you the big win and put you in a whole different universe. So, any questions? I can open it up right now for some questions before we go into a breakout. And there's some chats in there.
QBR is quarterly business review. VAR is value added reseller.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. That's one thing.
Let me
remember the acronyms, right? Can't assume everybody knows. And again, going back on the QBR, by the way, the quarterly business reviews, I think that even as an account exec, as a rep selling directly, it's important to have those with your clients as well. And there's no different here. You're almost in a partnership. It's almost like a joint client to each other. And you want to support each other. You got to help each other grow each other's businesses and understand where you have things that are working great. How do you multiply that? And the things that aren't working great, understand why. Try to dissect it and see if it's something that you want to continue to figure out how to make it better, or maybe it's in time the right business decision to disembark in that particular area. that's why it's so important to have those discussions and openness. And that's why I think Sandy also was stressing about the executive sponsorship. It's important to have those executives participate because typically they're going to be the decision makers and you want them to fully understand what's going on with that partnership. And that
And-
also helps, I'm sorry, one more comment, that also helps for them to start to see that maybe what they're hearing, some of the myths that they're hearing aren't necessarily exactly the truth.
Yeah, and then HWSW is hardware software, sorry.
Welcome, Jessica. Oh my gosh. Yeah, lots of acronyms. Okay, well then why don't we go ahead and we'll go into breakouts. I think I'll put you in rooms of 3 each and have a discussion about some of these myths. I'll leave this oh actually I can cut and paste this into the chat. But also leave it on the screen for you to see some of the myths and talk about where you are in your life with partnerships and alliances and some of the things that you've come across and work that through with your teammate. And then we'll come back together again and share as a group. Okay, see you guys in a little bit. Hey, David, can you get me?
Here, I'm moving some of them to get the rooms
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I can see it didn't quite work perfectly.
Sorry. I'll put, oh, Sheila's in with those 3.
Why don't you add me to one with Tara? But Tara didn't join.
Oh, no, right. So I'll add you with Jen or do you want to be with Winifred and?
Doesn't
Or
matter.
maybe if you go with Jen, she's got to bail in a minute, I think.
Yeah. Okay.